Have you ever felt that, in crucial moments, you need to keep your mask firmly in place? Like your truest self must remain hidden behind a perfect smile or an unbreakable posture. There's something silent in our psyche that pushes us to build walls around our vulnerability, especially when we're around powerful people. What once felt like a strategy of protection slowly becomes an invisible burden, trapping you in your own defenses. But what if I told you that by trying to avoid the pain of showing who you truly are, you're actually trapping yourself even more? What you thought was self-preservation might actually be a silent form of emotional destruction. Can you feel that weight now? That constant tension between being who you are and who you feel you must be in order to be accepted, acknowledged, admired. Here's the paradox. The more you try to hide your vulnerability, the more it consumes you. What once protected you is now, without your knowing, creating an abyss between you and the real world, between you and your own truth. But how can you escape this vicious cycle? How can we reconcile our essence with what is demanded of us by the forces around us? Let's delve into one of the deepest psychological concepts. As children, we become masters at detecting threats, whether real or imagined. For many, this heightened ability to detect and anticipate what might go wrong becomes a survival strategy. Growing up this way means living with a constant feeling of being watched, evaluated, and that the smallest slip-up might result in loss or punishment. Picture a child who, while playing, constantly looks toward their parents, seeking approval or disapproval. They become a human radar, constantly scanning the behavior of others to predict the next move. When they grow up, this internal surveillance follows them into relationships, work, and any environment where they feel vulnerable. Parentification fits perfectly into this scenario. When a child takes on emotional responsibilities meant for an adult, they carry the weight of a world that doesn't belong to them. They internalize a false sense of control, believing that the only way to be loved or accepted is to be perfect, without flaws, without ever showing vulnerability. This person's identity is built on a mask, where any hint of weakness is treated as an unacceptable failure. This shapes how they view the world and relate to it. Their nervous system is in a constant state of alert, always anticipating the worst. These emotional patterns create a default mode network in the brain, where automatic responses to emotional threats involve withdrawal, silence, or isolation. And here's the complex part. The automatic network that seemed so useful for surviving childhood now becomes the biggest obstacle in adult life. It's hard to describe the existential weight of living with this constant pressure. The psyche, pressured to repress any sign of vulnerability, carries what we might call an invisible mourning. You may not even realize it, but every single day, you are mourning something you were never allowed to experience: the freedom to be imperfect. There's a quote by Carl Jung that comes to mind. "He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes." When we spend our lives projecting an image of strength, flawless, need-free, we are denying our essence. The irony is that this effort to appear strong actually weakens us, because it's impossible to live authentically for long without being real. What happens then? Fear begins to govern every aspect of our life. The fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, the fear that if we show any weakness, we'll be discarded. Every simple interaction, every meeting, every new social contact turns into a constant test. Am I being seen as weak? Am I being watched? Am I good enough? The philosophy of Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, teaches us, he who is a slave to his fears will never be truly free. It's not just about being accepted by others. It's about accepting yourself. The tragedy here is that, by trying to avoid external judgment, you become your own tormentor. So, what happens when these childhood patterns persist into adulthood? They become the very foundations upon which you build your life. But now, those foundations are cracked. The behaviors you exhibit today are not personality traits. They are coping mechanisms, survival strategies that were useful at one point, but are now your chains. You might notice this in the way you act in intimate relationships. Instead of opening up and being vulnerable with those you love, you protect yourself, creating emotional distance, avoiding anyone seeing the real you. You struggle to set clear boundaries at work, always going above and beyond because the idea of not being perfect scares you. Your self-esteem depends on external approval, and your identity is constructed from superficial images. The fear of abandonment is the constant shadow hanging over you, causing you to go above and beyond to please others, to be accepted. You lose control over your emotions, which seem like a roulette wheel, unpredictable and chaotic. The unlearning process begins when you recognize the cycle. You can finally observe your reactions. You see where the lie began. No more self-sabotage, just the awareness that you can be different, freer, more you. Now, the good news. Healing is possible, and it begins with a simple act: turning inward. Recognizing the inner child, that vulnerable being who, deep down, just wanted to be loved and accepted, without pressure, without defenses. This is the beginning of reparenting your inner child. It's about giving yourself the love and care you never received. About nurturing yourself, forgiving the flaws that are actually just part of being human. Jung's philosophy on shadow work is key here. Your shadow is not your enemy, but an unrecognized part of you. By integrating this shadow, you become whole. You don't need to be fixed. You need to become complete. Regulating your nervous system is a powerful tool. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and breathing exercises can help calm that constant state of alert. Every conscious breath you take is a choice to live with more gentleness rather than reacting from fear. And in the end, remember this: the goal isn't to be fixed, but to become whole. To integrate every part of yourself, even the parts you're afraid to show. True freedom isn't about pleasing others. It's about accepting yourself fully. If this journey resonates with you, share this video with someone who could benefit from this message. Subscribe to the channel and continue this journey of self-discovery. You are not alone. Together, we can learn to be vulnerable, to be who we truly are. Remember, power lies in being yourself, and being vulnerable is not weakness. It is an act of courage and freedom.